Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Cupid. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing a reading all about your person's biggest regrets, okay? Or maybe one regret, multiple. It really doesn't matter. We're just going to tap into what they regret most when it comes to your connection. As always, the energy here is fluid, so this reading may resonate for multiple types of connections. It's up to you to use your intuition and just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay? So, as usual, I will have 3 groups after this intro, and you will be able to pause the video and meditate on which group you belong to. Okay? So, I'm super excited, and I will catch you guys at your reading. Hi, Group 1. Welcome to your reading. We are going to get right into your person's biggest regret when it comes to your connection. As stated in the intro, the energy is fluid, so make sure to take what resonates and leave what doesn't, okay? And yeah, let's get into it. So, Group 1, what is your person's biggest regret? What is Group 1's person's biggest regret? We have the 9 of Cups, and then we have Judgment at the bottom of the deck. So I feel like this person, they were selfish in some way. They feel like they made a poor decision when it comes to you. I heard priorities, okay? So their priorities were more self-focused, okay? Maybe it was a time where they had more than you did, or they could do more for themselves than you could do for yourself. I'm seeing somebody making a decision here that was selfish. Can I get one more card, please? What is Group 1's person's biggest regret? Ooh, 4 of Swords. This image here, guys. This image is... It's pretty dark. It's painting... Ooh. It's painting a terrible picture. We have the Hangman. They left you out to dry. This could be some type of abandonment, right? Their biggest regret was abandoning you, leaving you for dead. I'm seeing with the 4 of Swords. This is a woman or a person in a coffin, and above the coffin, it's like they're trying to open the coffin while they're inside of it, and on top of it are 3 swords, and each and maybe you could call these daggers 3 daggers, right? And there's a dagger on the ground as well. So there's 4 daggers here. This person, they kind of gave up on you, left you to die, left you to face some hardships or difficulties alone. There's a moment here where somebody wasn't able to step up, right? Somebody, I'm seeing, what is that called? A surrender flag, right? This person surrendered once you were caught, once you got caught up or couldn't do something. It's like the moment they could have helped you, they instead surrendered and gave up and left you to die in some way. At the bottom of the deck here, we have this Hangman, and this image is also like equally haunting in a sense, because you have this person, of course, they're hung upside down by their feet, they're bound, their hands are bound behind their back. But not only are they hanging upside down, they're hanging upside down in a cage that is in the shape of a human body, right? So like they are caged up very snugly while hanging upside down. It makes me think of a coffin, right? This person, it's like they didn't help you. They didn't help you in some way when you needed it, or you could have benefited from it. And from their perspective, they feel like the position they left you in was pretty low, right? Um, and it was selfish because they almost didn't care what happened to you, right? These are positions where, they sometimes wonder what happened after that, right? They think what happened after, but because they abandoned you and left you in that position, they'll never really know what happened. And so they are often like imagining, like, and they wish they could ask, but they can't. And they've come to understand that the reason they really want to know what happened is because they cared about you. And because and if they cared about you and they left you for dead, then that means they failed. Right? That means they failed. That means that they were a bad person. And this person has a hard time with that reality. And so yeah, they're constantly wondering, like, they wish they could know what happened to you. Did you turn out all right? Did you survive? Did you not survive? They want to understand what happened because they feel guilty for being selfish. It's possible what they gained after abandoning you really didn't live up to the hype. It wasn't as much, it wasn't what it presented itself to be. And so this person also kind of has this feeling of like being ripped off, like everything they did, like it just wasn't worth it. The guilt they feel, it wasn't worth what they gained. Can I get another card, please? What is this person's biggest regret? What is group one's person's biggest regret? One card, please. Ooh. Nine of Cups again. They pushed you away. In this image, it kind of looks like this man, he has this frustrated look. He's pushing this woman away. Not really, this person just wasn't really giving. This person was selfish. I mean, I feel like that's the main point that wants to come out here, that this person, they regret how selfish they were. They didn't really see what they had, right? Because there's this lantern here as well. And when I look at this lantern, it makes me think of the cage, right? This person didn't see the light you were, right? The cage that's in this hangman card, right? Like, so it's almost like you're this light, right? And they didn't really see the light that you were. And this could mean multiple things, right? They didn't recognize the treatment they were receiving from you, the compassion they were receiving from you, or the compatibility, right? This person was not recognizing something about your connection that was special, right? And I feel like this hangman is also their limited perspective, right? This person regretting being foolish, right? Being ignorant, right? Because in a lot of ways, they left you to die, but they got themselves caught up, right? They can't go back, right? With this hangman energy here, they're caught. They can't go back to you because of how limited their perspective was, right? With this Nine of Cups, it allowed them to justify selfishness and a connection that they really did think was special. At the bottom here, we have this Queen of Pentacles. And of course, in this image, this man, he's like holding her foot. He's kind of bowing to her, honoring her, right? This person kind of feels like that's what they should have been doing, right? They regret not doing that. They regret not seeing you, embracing you. It's almost the opposite of this Nine of Cups, where he's pushing her away in the Nine of Cups, And then the Queen of Pentacles, he was almost bringing himself closer, right? He's bringing himself closer to her. He's not even bringing her closer to him. He's coming to her. And so I feel like, yeah, this person feels like they should have, their behavior, it was them. Their behavior should have been different. Instead of treating you in this way that was repelling, they should have been trying to get closer. I want to get a message card here. What is Group 1's person's biggest regret? Group 1's person's biggest regret. Ooh, my God, this got heavy. Okay, at the bottom of the deck here, it said, look at the facts. So this person's biggest regret is that not only were they selfish, but it was blatant, right? It was a blatant selfishness. They can't deny it. There's nothing that they can come forth and say that would change reality, right? What they did was so on the nose, right? Out in the open. It was so clear and concise and deliberate that they can't deny this. And it's not something that you can overlook, right? Because the implications are clear. Whatever happened here, the implications were clear about who this person is. The card that came out was, it said no frequency without motion. And so this is to me about evidence, right? No frequency without motion. So the only reason this energy, this frequency, this vibration is present between you is because of their actions. If their actions were not what they were, there would not be this frequency. There would not be this frequency between you. This person, you know, like I said, they hate how blatant it was because, quite frankly, that's their arrogance. They were so blatant because they were so arrogant. They were so selfish. They were so blindsided by materialism or what have you, right? That they weren't able to truly value or cherish or nurture a connection, like I said, that they felt was special. We're going to get one more card here about your person's biggest regret. Spirit, can I please get one more card? Please, one more card. Any day. Any day. But it's like reversed. It's reversed. This person feels like there's, like I said before, there's no turning back. There's no way to go back in time and change what has happened. There's not going to be another time that they see you and can make things different, right? Because of the severity of what happened between you. You know, usually when I see this any day card, it's like anticipation. Any day something will happen. But here, being reversed, it's almost like you're all out of lives. You're all out of luck, right? You need to wait, 3 hours to get more lives, to play more levels. Like you're all out. The tank is empty with this connection, and they know that it's because of them, because they wore down the timer. They didn't use their time wisely. They forfeited, right? They forfeited the time they had with you because of some other selfish priority. But yeah, that's their biggest regret, Group 1. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did and it resonated, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment, and if you would like to be notified whenever I post new videos, then subscribe and ring that notification bell. Bye, Group 1. Hi, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. We are going to tap in and see what your person's biggest regret in regards to your connection is, okay? So as stated in the intro, the energy here is fluid, so please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. All right? So let's go ahead and get right into it, group 2. What is your person's biggest regret? What is group 2's person's biggest regret? One card, please. The Chariot. The Hierophant. With the Chariot and the Hierophant here, I feel like this person, I'm getting conformity, right? This person conformed in some way, causing you guys to have to go onto 2 different paths, all right? This person feels like they were influenced by some larger entity or organization to go in one direction, but that direction was in direct conflict with something that had to do with you, okay? I want to get another card because this is an interesting combination, the Chariot and the Hierophant. Please, Spirit, can I get one more card? What is group 2's person's biggest regret? The Empress. For some of you, they married another person, or they got into a relationship. They chose the relationship with another person over you. And with the Empress here, I'm seeing this woman has like some growth coming from her belly. So this woman, maybe this person had a baby with another person, and they basically chose to have a family with another person, and they kind of regret doing that. They feel like they went in that direction due to maybe their faith or their community or some type of expectation from some larger organization, or belief, okay? At the bottom of the deck here, we have 7 of Pentacles, and and on the image, we have these graves, these tombstones, and a tree. And so I feel like this person, maybe this had to do with expectations, right? Their family expectations, their lineage, maybe people older than them. But I'm getting like an energy of like this is what was expected of them, right? They felt like they kind of had to do this, right? In order to gain something else. But either way, they felt like at the time this was a necessity, but they're basically regretting having this belief, okay? I want to get another card here. Maybe they have a lot of siblings, or maybe they have a big family. Maybe there's an expectation that they marry this particular person or marry in this particular way. But let's get one more card. Please, Spirit, tell me, what is this person's biggest regret? What is this person's biggest regret? One card, please. What is this person's biggest regret? One card, please. Yeah, Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles. We have Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Wow. Okay. Damn. I feel like this is like, I heard popping the question, but I also feel like this is like 2 aces, right? This person, they regret giving this beginning or giving this stability to this other choice, right? To this other person, right? They feel like they went maybe even a more traditional route, right? When they didn't really want to, right? They didn't speak up, or they weren't vocal or honest about what they truly wanted, at the time, and they did basically what was more expected of them, what they felt was the safer option. And they really regret that. They regret going the route everybody else wanted them to go instead of going the direction they wanted to go with you. Something about the connection with you was going to be non-traditional in some sense, or it was going to go against the expectations that they had on them. And they just regret like not speaking up and being honest. Can I get one message card, please, about Group Two's person? What is Group Two's person's biggest regret? What is Group Two's person's biggest regret? One card, please. This person might have multiple children now with somebody else. And they just feel like they did it or they're doing it because that's just what they were told they were supposed to do. They felt like they were supposed to do that. What is Group Two's person's biggest regret about this connection? What is Group Two's person's biggest regret about their connection? Interesting. Write it down. I feel like there's something that they didn't record, right? With the write it down, I'm getting the idea of like recording something. Either a note to give to someone later or something for you to see later. Something that's a reminder or that informs of something. They feel like they missed a chance to communicate something and they should have communicated something. They should have wrote something down. They should have recorded something. And at the bottom here we have a great compromise may not always be an equal one. And so this person, they're thinking about sacrifices and they regret, one, they kind of regret not leaving you some breadcrumbs or leaving a breadcrumb, or maybe not for you but for the future, for themselves, or just as a way to like kind of commemorate, you know, what they were sacrificing. But they kind of regret making this great compromise, and they're realizing in a way that it was a compromise, right? Maybe before, when they were just following the status quo, they truly believed that that was what they wanted, or they really didn't take the time to think about whether or not that was what they wanted. And so they're kind of realizing they're kind of realizing how great of a compromise that they made and how now they have limited themselves significantly due to this compromise. And they really didn't consider it. They didn't consider how it's not an equal one. It doesn't. Maybe this person thought that what they were doing was best for both of you, and they're kind of realizing that it actually wasn't best for both of you, right? There's something here about the outcome that they feel was unequal or unfair in some sense, and they're kind of like reckoning with that truth that they kind of NPC'd, you know what I mean? They bought into something and they, you know, just did what others were doing because they really just didn't want to stand out. I mean, you know, that's, I think, the hardest part for some people to realize is that they were afraid of standing out. They went along with something that they weren't really interested in or didn't believe in because they wanted the approval of a group more than they wanted to be happy. And it's hard to face that reality of yourself because it means you're a coward. It means in a lot of the ways you have a lot of fear of walking alone. And I think this person, they regret you know, not really considering their own happiness. And they chose a path that they're really not happy with, is what I'm getting. It's like they're not really happy, and so they think back on you and they're like, man, I really pushed that person to the side because I believed that this other person or way of doing things was going to be better. And it's not, right? Realizing that, like, the dream is a fantasy, right? So, one more message card. What is group two's person's biggest regret? One card, please. What is group two's person's biggest regret? Biggest regret. What is group two's person's biggest regret? One card. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. I feel like this person, so at the card that came out, we got sorry. And then at the bottom of the deck we have excuse. So I feel like this person really regrets not being sincere and honest with you and apologizing. Maybe they made some excuses, or they gave some story, or they weren't really upfront with you, and they honestly, it's like they didn't respect you enough to give you a real explanation, is what it seems like, right? They were more focused on their ego and their fear of what you would do and say, but not really understanding that, like, they kind of disrespected you in that sense by, like, trying to hide what was going on. They wish they were more sincere. They regret not being more sincere about what was going on. And apologizing to you, possibly just for wasting your time. And they wish they could go back and, you know, really put it all out there on the table and make things very clear to you, right? And I think that goes back to, like, the write it down. Like, in a lot of ways, they didn't make something clear. They were dishonest, and they could have given you more than they did. And I feel like for some of you, they kind of left you hanging when they went and chose another path. But anyway, that's all I have for you today, Group 2. If you enjoyed this reading, please give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment. And if you would like to be notified whenever I post new videos, then subscribe and ring that notification bell. Bye, Group 2. Hi, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. We are going to get right into your person's biggest regret when it comes to your connection. As stated in the intro, the energy here is fluid, so please take what resonates and leave what does not. All right? So let's go ahead and get right into your reading, Group 3. What is your person's biggest regrets when it comes to this connection? What is Group 3's person's biggest regrets? One card, please. What is their biggest regret? One card, please. Two of Wands. Right at the bottom of the deck here, we have Five of Wands. So this person regrets some type of inaction. But also, like, I'm getting, like, an opposition. Somebody's stubborn. This person regrets a stubbornness right? They were stubborn about fighting for something or being assertive in regards to something. And they did this because they were indecisive and they were comfortable where they were, right? So they weren't necessarily trying to be stubborn in regards to this. They weren't able to make a decision fast enough, and they knew they weren't going to really be able to make a decision fast enough. So they kind of, I'm seeing somebody stalling. And also, like, they were open or willing to do that because where they were was comfortable for them, right? This is somebody who didn't have an immediate desire to change. Um, Whatever this change was that you wanted from them, they didn't really have like a true desire on their own, um, because where they were comfortable. Okay. Um, with the Five of Wands, I'm not sure. Maybe you guys had conflict with other people. Maybe there was a conflict of interest. But let's see, Spirit. Can I please get one more card? What is Group Three's person's biggest regrets? What is their biggest regret? Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Gosh, I don't know. I feel like this is like a similar energy to, which group was it? I can't remember which group, but if you felt drawn to watch another group, I would say watch it. But this person, it's almost like they could have done something, right? It's almost like they had an ability to change something and they didn't do it, right? With the Eight of Cups here, I'm thinking of somebody who, um, after all of the considerations, they chose to go in a different direction, right? Or they chose to do something different. And that was them, right? They regret how they saw the situation before. Whatever they saw in the situation, they almost just kind of felt like it wasn't worth it, or they couldn't find their own internal motivation, and that's what caused them to like choose to go in a different direction. But with this Six of Pentacles, I'm seeing that they had resources or the ability to do something that could have like changed the situation, and they're like realizing now that they kind of just gave up, right? They kind of just didn't try because they did have what was necessary possibly to make changes in your connection, right? They didn't really consider working with you is what I'm also getting. Like, this person didn't really consider a partnership. They kind of felt like if they couldn't see a solution in their head on their own, then it was just not worth it. They didn't consider how you both could help each other or how you both could lean on each other to, reach this goal, okay? I want to get another card, please. What is their biggest regret when it comes to Group 3? What is their biggest regret with Group 3, Spirit? One card. The Lovers, and then we have the Tower at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, wow. This is interesting. So, what I'm picking up on is a dynamic that is non-traditional. So, by that I mean you and this person may not have necessarily been together. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you guys were talking but not official, or maybe there's something here where things are really open. I see this person like them choosing somebody else, but then them also allowing you to choose somebody else. This person, maybe they were too nonchalant, right? Maybe there was like a nonchalance here where this person was never really trying to solidify anything. And it's probably because they also, I mean, if they're being passive with you, they're probably being passive with other girls or other guys, right? Where they're kind of along for the ride. Like, if somebody likes them, you know, they're spending time with them, but they're not necessarily interested enough to truly invest. So this is somebody who may just like attention, but I'm seeing them like entertaining another individual, but then also like acknowledging that that opened the door for you to entertain other individuals, right? This person regrets kind of ignoring how this open situation would affect you or did affect you, right? They regret not really considering your emotions, right? This person is seeing you upset and hurt and not doing anything about it, not stepping up. Like I said, this person was really passive. This person was nonchalant. They were kind of just letting things happen, and not really getting involved. But in this Tower card, this person is furious. They hate that because of their nonchalance, you were able to go off and basically do the same thing they were doing, which is entertaining other people, getting closer to other people. They wanted your love and attention and affection all to themselves while they, dilly-dallied and, just took their time figuring out what they wanted to do. And they just feel foolish for thinking that you wouldn't at some point just get tired of it and walk away. Let's get a message card, group 3. Let's get a message card. What is this person's biggest regret? One card. What is this person's biggest regret when it comes to group 3? Doors are walls that can be moved. At the bottom here, we have say less. Their regret here with doors or walls that can be moved. This person regrets not taking advantage of opportunities that were present to them. They regret feeling hopeless, right? Because that caused them to see these doors as these closed doors or these difficulties, these hardships, right? As things that were immovable, right? Things that they couldn't do anything about. They kind of, like I said, this person kind of went with the flow of things, but really they were just letting life happen to them, right? They were avoiding making decisions, avoiding feeling too deeply or too strongly about anything. But all that did was cause this person to not really know how to, be present when it's time to be present. They regret, not, caring more, right? Showing up. Because then maybe they could have done something. But because they saw the world as like, just it is what it is, whatever happens, happens, they missed out on valuable opportunities because they just didn't want anything enough. They didn't want something enough. All right? With the say less here at the bottom of the deck, they are regretting not, not being about it, right? This is about actions because with the say less card, it's kind of like, say no more, right? This person, they feel like they didn't, move on to that next stage of just like showing them, right? Like, once somebody say no more or say less, they about to just be about their actions, right? That's letting you know that we're done talking and now we're about to show it. We're about to strut it. We about to put it on display. You just gonna see about me. And this person feels like they just never showed up. They had a lot of things that they were maybe saying to you, a lot of excuses, a lot of reasoning, but they really weren't showing up when it came time to show up. And that says enough, right? Like they feel like that says enough and they regret that there's nothing that they can say to, really challenge this perspective of them. You know what I mean? This is somebody who they're realizing that at the end of the day, they were kind of lazy or cowardice. They were the ones who didn't really do the work. They didn't really, make a change for anything. They didn't push for anything. They weren't desiring anything. I want to get one more card. What is this person's biggest regret when it comes to group 3? One card, please. This is interesting. We have drama at the bottom of the deck. We have drama at the bottom of the deck. And then the card that came out was envy. I feel like this person, oh my God. This person regrets feeling sorry for themselves. Okay? This person regrets feeling sorry for themselves. They feel like at the time that you guys were connecting, they were always feeling like there was things that they couldn't do, and that's why they were so nonchalant. They were trying to act as if they didn't care that life was just happening to them. They wanted to pretend like they didn't care that, you know, this was happening or that was happening, and maybe somewhere they have learned that demonstrates strength. Right? When really it's just avoidance, okay? But they picked up on, you know, they to them that demonstrated strength. And so in order to deflect these feelings of hopelessness and these feelings of like not being good enough, because that's what this really is. Like, this person was a coward, right? This person was insecure and they didn't really believe in themselves, and that's why they didn't step up, because they didn't believe there was anything they could do. They were afraid. Right? They were afraid to fail. They were afraid to try. They like to deflect from that insecurity by being nonchalant. And they are realizing that with you, they were envious of how you were not like this, right? You were somebody who would step up, who would fight for something, who would speak out, right? You're not afraid of standing alone. You're not afraid of, you know, getting a little bit of negative attention or any attention, okay? You were somebody who was willing to take a risk, and this person, they kind of ended up, they're realizing that they kind of created drama with you from their place of insecurity, because they started basically projecting that insecurity, or they were projecting that insecurity, right? If they have always been nonchalant with you, they're realizing that this nonchalant attitude only created drama in a connection where somebody was just trying to, you know, be with them and connect with them, right? But they allowed their feelings of low self-esteem and not being able to do anything, they allowed that to make them kind of like resent you and envy your willingness to take these risks, right? They just kind of felt pressured, maybe, like when you would do something that was risky and they didn't, or they couldn't, or whatever it was that they needed to do, whatever it was that they needed to fight for, it's like they saw that you were somebody who was kind of doing it, and it only fueled this feeling of inferiority. You know what I mean? Like, they were just kind of comparing you, both of your energies. Like, they're somebody who they kind of have a hard time standing for something other than themselves and their comfort. With this Two of Pentacles, with this Two of Wands, like I said, this person is comfortable. And that's why it was hard for them to fight for you, or hard for them to, you know, consider you, because they were already good and they were not willing to risk that. And something about what you wanted from them just made them feel challenged, and it triggered their feelings of inferiority. So, I don't know. This person, they seem kind of fickle to me, but we're going to leave it there. Group 3, I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment, and if you would like to be notified whenever I post new videos, then subscribe and ring that notification bell. Bye, Group 3.